We're starting. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us this evening. We are going to get started in just a few seconds. Excited to have so many people joining us for this fun evening that we have planned for you. So just before we get started, I just want to make sure everybody gets in from the waiting room, but also just want a quick note that the use of any AI recording and note-taking tools is prohibited without the written consent from a Citizen Action of Wisconsin staff member. So with that, Robert, I think we are ready for you to go ahead and welcome everybody and set the stage for us.
So welcome everyone. I'm Robert Craig. I'm the Executive Director of Citizen Action of Wisconsin. And it's an honor not only to have all of our members and supporters from all over the state watching this, but to have all seven of the major Democratic candidates for the gubernatorial nomination. So this is going to be an important night because we're living in very consequential and important times. People know us at Citizen Action of Wisconsin, so I'll be a little brief on that. We're in our 42nd year. We're a statewide power building organizing group. We're especially known for our work on healthcare and guaranteeing healthcare as a fundamental right. We also work on economic and racial justice issues, and we've really moved into the climate to energy space, and are doing a great deal in that area. It's one of our major campaigns now. And we have members across the state that are in chapters we call organizing co-ops. So we have 6 organizing co-ops around the state and have a great deal of we're deep in local communities. Our model is we're a civil society group, and we believe strongly, particularly at this time when we have this threat to democracy, that having organized people working together in communities in order to change our society and influence government and replace the influence of billionaires and the huge lobbying interests, that is essential to democracy, and that muscle is atrophied. And that's partly why we're in the situation we're in right now, with democracy very much at risk in our country. But there is another reason, and a reason we're in this situation, and it is that over the last several decades, democracy has stopped delivering for working class and middle class people. And that is felt greatly. So some people have been really turned off, become alienated, been open to right-wing demagogues, but many others have walked away, not seeing that they have any stake in democracy, which of course weakens democracy and makes it right for this sort of situation. And so that's why we think it is so important in Wisconsin that we elect a very strong governor that's willing to take action, real action that will deliver for average people and deal with the major challenges of our state and all of the affordability and wage crisis and issues that we have in the state. And so this is very important because we have the chance for a brand new legislature and a brand new governor in 2027, and that has never been more important for making democracy deliver for people and giving people a stake in that democracy and beginning to create the equal, just, equitable society that we deserve, that everyone in Wisconsin deserves. So this is very important, and I hope you will listen to what candidates say in regard to our questions, and think about that carefully as far as who would be the best governor in 2027 at this critical historical turning point. A little bit about where this fits in. We have an endorsement process that this forum is part of. That we also have detailed questionnaires. We also have groups of members in our issue action teams, our healthcare and climate and energy action teams, meeting and having deeper conversations with candidates in our regions across the state. But ultimately, the decision is by our board of directors, which is a very representative group statewide, a lot of members and key coalition affiliates of Citizen Action of Wisconsin. So they will take the information from the questionnaire, from this forum, and then from the deeper discussions with our members across the state, and hopefully be able to make an actual endorsement decision. Our goal in primaries, and this is not true of all groups, is actually to reach an endorsement if we can. Of course, it's 7 candidates, so it's a hard challenge, but we would love to be able to do that. So with that, I this is an important forum in the history of Wisconsin, of American and Wisconsin democracy. I'm going to hand it back over to Priscilla.
All right, thank you. Um, so we are just about to get started. I'll have all the candidates come off the camera just in a couple seconds, but just want to lay out the agenda for this evening. Each candidate's going to have 90 seconds to answer their questions. Their microphone will be turned off at that 90-second mark, and they all know that. There's a randomly drawn order for each question. So right before the reading of the question, I will share the order. And of course, I do want to just remind our candidates and everyone at watch parties too and on Facebook that this is a forum. This is not a debate. We want to take that just with some kindness. As Robert said, this is part of our endorsement process. We are so excited. I know I'm super excited that we're going to be using ranked choice voting for our straw poll to get the best sense that we can of what people, what Wisconsinites, what folks around the state are interested in and who they're interested in. The straw poll is going to be in the chat right after the fourth question. It's going to be sent out to everyone as well. So make sure you're watching there. Then, of course, I just want to give a big thank you to our candidates for attending. Thank you to everyone who's watching this live right now or will be watching this later. We had so many good questions submitted, an incredible amount of interest in this event. We're almost at 400 folks on the Zoom right now, which is great. And it was interest from new people and long-term members. So we appreciate all of you taking the time to engage in this process. Without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Robert to ask our first question. And have all the
And
candidates come off. Yeah, everybody back on camera. Thank you.
so we have a framing question for your opening statement, so people understand what kind of a leader you will be. So each Wisconsin governor brings unique life experiences, values, and issue commitments to the office. They also establish a distinct leadership style, managing the executive branch, working with the legislature, and relating to outside civil society groups, advocating for the common good. If elected, how would your approach to governing differ from that of your predecessor, Governor Tony Evers?
Are you gonna have to give me 2 more seconds? So
Very
everybody
well.
gets like a couple extra seconds to think about their answers while I add the fun. There we go. We did it. All right. So for this question, David, you're first, and Sarah, you'll be after David.
All right. Good evening. First and foremost, I want to thank Wisconsin Citizen Action for putting on this forum. I want to thank all of you for joining us. My name is David Crowley. I serve as the county executive of Milwaukee County. I'm a Wisco boy through and through, born in the 53206 zip code, a community known more for what it lacks than what it actually has. I had great loving parents, but they struggled and had different types of challenges, particularly with mental health and drug addiction. We were evicted 3 times before I graduated high school, and for 15 years, I moved every single year. But that's one of the reasons why, as county executive, we've been able to build more affordable housing, cut our carbon emissions in half, be able to reduce our opioid deaths by 30%. And when I think about becoming the next governor of the great state of Wisconsin, it's about how do we bring more people to the table. I was always told as an organizer, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And it's unfortunate that so many families have been left behind while we need to be focusing on our state's model moving forward. And so I want to make sure that we're organizing and bringing more voices to the table to lend to the solution. It's extremely important that our local folks, all of our municipalities, have the ability to lend to the solutions. There isn't a one size fits all for the state of Wisconsin, and it's important that we right size all the solutions to fit each community's needs. Thank you.
Great. It is Sarah and then Kelda.
Again, thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here. You know, it's the honor of my life to be your lieutenant governor, but it was never really part of my plan to run for office. Service was always part of my family's commitment. I was a Peace Corps volunteer after college. And then I became a nurse and did everything from night shifts in the emergency department all the way to being a leader within a large healthcare system. And that's how what I thought I was going to do. That was how I was going to give back to my community was within healthcare. And that all kind of changed in 2016 when I started getting more involved within politics. And then in 2020, I decided to step up and run for state assembly in District 13. And I live in Waukesha County. This was when the Trump administration was giving so much misinformation and disinformation about COVID and what was going on nationally. I had been an epidemic intelligence service officer with the Centers for Disease Control. I know how dangerous it is when we get misinformation and disinformation from our leadership. And then I ran again. I stood up and run again with Governor Evers to be his lieutenant governor, and we won statewide. And I'm going to take that winning streak, and then we're going to win again in November against Tom Tiffany. I think that we need a leader who's going to be ready day one to get things done, and I strongly believe that I am that leader. Thank you.
Great. It is Kelda and then Mandela.
Thank you. Delighted to be here with you. My name is Kelda Roys, and I am running for governor to raise wages, to lower costs, and to protect our freedoms, especially from this dangerous authoritarian regime. I believe the question was, how would my approach to governing differ than that of Governor Evers? And I want to start by saying how grateful I am that Governor Evers has provided a veto pen on so many things from reproductive health to LGBTQ equality. But I think my approach to governing is quite different. I have spent 25 years building progressive power, getting Democrats elected, and actually passing laws in the toughest legislative environments on reproductive rights, on criminal justice reform, expanding healthcare. I have done it by building coalitions because at heart, I really believe in movement politics. I believe that our public policy should serve as many people as possible, and that it is our job to engage people in politics. I had the honor of serving on the boards of Citizen Action, Common Cause, the ACLU, and many other organizations that are engaged in movement politics, because we need to work together to see the kind of change that we want, especially given how our politics is absolutely dominated by moneyed interests, by the billionaire class. If we want to see a politics that reflects everyone being able to thrive, we need a governor who is willing to use power. We are going to have a tiny window of opportunity, and I intend to use power to make our lives better. That's a huge difference.
Great. Mandela, then Joel.
All right. Well, thank you all so much. I'm Mandela Barnes, former lieutenant governor. I'm really excited to be running to become the next governor of the state of Wisconsin. Unfortunately, it was some very challenging moments that led me to this decision. And it's the fact that life has gotten more difficult for people, for families just like mine. And I can tell you right now, as costs continue to increase with groceries, healthcare, utilities, housing, you name it, it feels like there's no end in sight. And I know that we can all agree that the president has done a terrible job at making anything better for anyone who's not himself. He's added an additional $1.5 billion of wealth, of personal wealth in 1 year alone back in the presidency. But if you aren't him, if you aren't in his immediate family, his inner circle, or one of his wealthy donors, chances are you too have been left behind. And that's what's at stake right now. Wisconsin has always been in a position of leadership. And I know that we can lead by example. Not only can we change the state, we can change the entire direction of this country. And I'm so proud to have stood with Citizen Action in so many times in the past, be it as a board member or be it when it was time to challenge a broken system, which even included taking on members of my own party. And I look to retain that commitment. And I'm incredibly grateful for what the governor has done to help clean up the mess of the 8 years that preceded us taking office in 2019. But we know what is possible with a Democratic majority in the Assembly and in the Senate. We can do more to raise the income and raise wages of everyday working people, to lower costs, and to overall improve quality of life for people, regardless of your zip code.
Thank you. Joel and then Missy.
Good evening, everybody. Joel Brennan. I'm a fifth generation Wisconsinite, the 10th of 11 kids. Truth be told, my wife and I have two kids. Our son Connor's birthday is today, born on 4/14 day. He's 19 today. And for 25 years, I've solved problems in government, in the nonprofit sector, and in business. In 2018, Governor Evers asked me to serve as the top appointed official as the Secretary of the Department of Administration in his administration. And we got to work cleaning up some of those messes from Scott Walker. And we did well initially. We created the largest surplus in state history to that time of about $4 billion. We took a rainy day fund that had less than $200 million, grew it to $2 billion, and then COVID hit. And we were required to do many things to make government work because as a last resort, there were people who were very much hurting. Family farmers who needed support, small businesses that were in danger of closing, people who couldn't put a roof over their heads. And so we were required to make government work for people in Wisconsin. And while we didn't do everything right, we did lots right. And I'm really proud of that time. And I'll tell you, the antidote then and the antidote now to the chaos and division of Donald Trump is making government work for people. The question was, how will we be different than Tony Evers? Tony Evers' gift to all of us is the different environment we will work in. We will be able to be on the offensive as opposed to protecting the rights that we've had to do over the last 8 years. I'm eager to start with that, and I'm glad to be with you tonight.
Great. Missy and then Fran.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Missy Hughes, and I'm so glad to be here with you tonight. I am a mother of three. I live in southwestern Wisconsin with my husband of many, many years, over 3 decades, and I don't know the exact number of years. I will say that I'm so glad to be here with Citizen Action tonight. I'm so impressed that you are formed as a co-op. I worked for 17 years for a farmer-owned cooperative, Organic Valley, in southwestern Wisconsin, and my role in the leadership of that company was to help farmers stay on their farms, to save family farms from the consolidation that we're seeing and make them able to pass on that farm to the next generation. Critically important. And it's a muscle that I have built that means thinking really long term and making sure that we're bringing everyone to the table, all the stakeholders to the table, so that we can develop long term plans. And when you see the challenges that Wisconsin is facing right now, whether it's healthcare or funding our public schools or childcare, we know we need long term solutions, and we need leaders who are going to be able to build those solutions over time by bringing all stakeholders to the table, making sure their interests are heard, and making sure that we can have the actual impact that Wisconsinites are looking for. In my time, I created jobs, I helped businesses, I helped communities acquire and accomplish projects, and I look forward to doing that as governor.
And Fran.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much to the team at Citizen Action for hosting this forum today, and for folks on the call for taking time out of your Wednesday evening to join us. I'm State Representative Francesca Hong, proud to represent my hometown of Madison, Wisconsin. The moment that we are in right now is a movement moment, and movements require a coalition builder, someone who is going to be responsibly authentic and bringing more people into governing and understanding how we need every single person right now to be engaged in politics to fight for the solutions that match this moment. I think right now the crises and stresses of working class people's lives require policies that will move at the scale and speed. The universal policies like universal childcare, fully funding our public schools, ensuring that there is paid leave for all, and fair, cheaper, accessible healthcare. I come from the service industry. I'm still working as a bartender and line cook now. And my experience in the restaurant industry has shown that you have to put others first. You have to prioritize collaboration and ensure that your leadership is fostering leadership in others. Governor Evers did a great job in using his veto pen. I plan to wield the full power of the executive and ensure that with the legislature, there is that collaboration to make sure that Wisconsinites, working class Wisconsinites, have what they need to build permanent affordability into their lives, so we do not come into this moment again.
All right. First of all, nice job, everybody, for not going over. This is going to be a great night. All right. We have also hit over 400 attendees now, which is super exciting. 425, excited to have everybody here. All right, so your next question will be on healthcare access. So we're going to start with Missy, or we're going to start with Sarah and then go to Missy. So your question is, healthcare costs are one of the top affordability issues. It is driven by the pricing power, hospital conglomerates, insurance corporations, and big pharma. Healthcare is substantially cheaper in every other advanced industrial economy because the government sets the fair price. This is not only a problem for the uninsured, working, and middle class families with insurance are avoiding care because of the exorbitant copays, deductibles, and surprise medical bills. Slashing federal cuts to the ACA and Medicaid are making this problem worse. So, what specifically will you propose to make quality healthcare affordable and accessible? Sarah, we'll start with you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And I have worked in so many different parts of the healthcare system as a nurse myself, providing direct patient care, also as a leader within a larger healthcare system. So knowing the levers that we can pull to be able to lower costs is something that I've got significant experience in. In terms of my plan to be able to lower healthcare costs, number one, it's a public option on the exchange. It's modeled after Colorado's model that requires 5% reductions in premiums every year with price transparencies and some controls there to be able to lower those costs. This would be available to anybody and would have the power of the state behind it. Secondly, I would like us to expand Medicaid. It is going to be a more pricey alternative now than if we would have expanded earlier. I still think it's the right thing to do to make sure that we can have people have the coverage that they need when they're low income. Lastly, we know that these cuts have not hit us yet in terms of Medicaid and Medicare. They are going to be hitting us after the midterms. And we know that rural healthcare systems rely on Medicaid and Medicare way more than our suburban and urban counterparts. So part of my plan is to have a rural health stabilization fund so that we can have that Band-Aid until we can fix what Trump and the Republicans have broken. We also need a healthcare bill of rights. If we're not going to be able to get leadership at the state, at the federal level, we're going to have it at the state level, including protecting pre-existing conditions, addressing surprise billing, and making sure that people can get the care that they need in the communities that they're at. Thank you.
Right. Missy and then Joel.
Thank you. You know, at every moment of our conversation as Democrats, we have to remember that the reason we're here talking so desperately about healthcare is because of what Donald Trump and Tom Tiffany have done to devastate the healthcare system in Wisconsin and across the country. My healthcare plan that I introduced last week is focused on three things: cost, access, and quality. When it comes to cost, Priscilla, you laid it out precisely that there are so many different impacts of the cost, whether it is just money not being able to be spent back into our economy, or whether it is folks withholding themselves from getting care. My plan proposes a public option that would expand Badger Care and make it available for any Wisconsinite to buy in, and also making sure that we have supports for lower income folks so that they can also access healthcare, making sure that everyone has the opportunity to get the healthcare solutions that we can offer. Also looking at making sure we're thinking about prescription drugs and putting caps on chronic disease prescription drugs like insulin. And then finally, working against the insurance companies and making sure we are holding them accountable for the efforts they make to have prior authorizations determined by AI, have they make the decisions after care is given to reject care. All of these things add costs to Wisconsinites.
Right. We have Joel and then Francesca.
Thanks. I mean, some basics that I think we have to do is increase price transparency, increase the competition amongst insurers, make sure that we're investing in preventive care. One of the things that I have said that is really a staple of who we are as Wisconsin is there are still 5 to 7% of kids who are uninsured in our states. As we start to figure out what we're going to do for a long term. A Wisconsin value is that no kid should go without health insurance. So regardless of whether a parent can have health insurance at this point, we should cover every kid up to 300% of the federal poverty level. We have done that in Wisconsin in the past, and we should make sure that that's one of our values. The core of the plan that I laid out really is around access, especially in rural areas, making sure that we address costs, both for the families where premiums are going up, but the businesses that are trying to ensure that they can provide care for people around the state. Number three, we're in a state where we're continuing to get older. There are challenges that we're going to have related to demographics. So we want to make sure that we have a pipeline over the next 10 years. We need 4,000 nurses every year. We're going to need 3,000 primary care docs over that same period of time. So we need to make sure that we have that pipeline going. We have earn and learn opportunities for people throughout the healthcare system. And finally, we need to make mental health part of basic health in Wisconsin. That's something that all of us fundamentally should be for. I welcome you to take a look at the plan on my website. Thanks.
Great. Francesca and then Mandela.
So our current healthcare system is designed to privatize, to punish, and to profit. And it's critical that Wisconsin takes steps to invest in a robust public option and expand Badger Care. And while the One Big Beautiful Bill did make it more difficult, Scott Walker had a 60% expansion. And so what that means, it is still critical that we do that Badger Care expansion to ensure that tens of thousands of more Wisconsinites can access healthcare and that the state saves up to $400 million. But healthcare costs are high because healthcare prices are high. And so in order to make sure that we are holding corporate hospitals accountable that are making up to $2 billion a year, there has to be caps on those profits. We have to ensure that the nonprofit hospitals and clinics that often do not prioritize charity care, that we're looking at ways to ensure that those hospitals are still prioritizing care and not trying to game the system. And then I think it's imperative that we have tax subsidies, we eliminate tax subsidies for some of those corporate hospitals as well. And so we have to take a multi-pronged approach to addressing the high costs of healthcare for too many Wisconsinites. It includes a robust public option. We have to hold corporate hospitals accountable and ensure that we are expanding Medicaid here in our state.
Thank you, Mandela, then Kelda.
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of the most broken systems in the whole of government. And the reason at the state level we have the issues that we have is because of the complexities at the federal level that make it increasingly more difficult for people to get the care that they need. Now, we've heard heartbreaking story after heartbreaking story on the campaign trail, whether it's the conversations we engage in that have nothing to do with healthcare that inevitably come back to the issue, or the people we run into just randomly who talk about having some form of a healthcare issue, a healthcare scare, or a healthcare story. The fact is we are paying more and more money and the care has yet to get better. And for so many folks across Wisconsin, that access has become even more limited, either because Congress failed to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, or the fact that Wisconsin is one of 10 states that has not expanded our Medicaid program under the Affordable Care Act. Now, even with the BBB, Trump's budget bill, even without it, there would have still been an additional cost for Badger Care expansion after 10 years. That being said, it is paramount that we extend coverage to as many people as possible and at the same time create that public option so that more people buying into the system will help strengthen the program. This is my pledge because nobody should ever have to face uncertainty because of medical debt, and people certainly should not go into medical bankruptcy. And this is one of those issue areas where Wisconsin has to be a leader.
Hilda, then David.
I believe healthcare is a right. And in this country, we ration healthcare based on your ability to pay, your wealth, your job. We pay more per capita than most other developed countries, and yet we are sicker and we die sooner. This is because we have taken the worst parts of capitalism, the unregulation and the profit seeking, and taken away the best parts of capitalism, which are transparency and competition to lower costs. So our healthcare system is totally broken. Now, listen, of all my good friends on this panel, I am the only one that's actually expanded access to healthcare. I was the vice chair of the Committee on Health in the Assembly in 2009, the very last time we expanded Badger Care coverage in this state to 80,000 previously uninsured Wisconsinites. And as somebody who knows what it is like to go without health insurance, I know how life-changing that is. I fought for 16 years to expand Badger Care, but unfortunately, it is important that we be honest with you, the voters. Because of the changes in the federal budget bill, that is off the table for Wisconsin. My plan does not rely on a permission slip from the Trump administration. It opens up the state health insurance plan, the very same insurance that I enjoy as a senator, to anyone to buy in: municipalities, unions, individuals, small businesses. This plan will bring down uncompensated care, reduce premiums for all, and help Wisconsinites thrive and be healthy. And it will deliver economic freedom.
Finally, David.
All right. So I think all of us on this call understand that healthcare is one of the biggest cost pressures that are facing Wisconsin families. It doesn't matter if you're in a rural, suburban, or urban area, costs are going up, and everybody's, quite frankly, is getting less. And as county executive, we have been able to deliver results even here locally. We secured the largest amount of opioid settlement dollars in the history of any local government here in the state of Wisconsin. We brought over close to $100 million in healthcare funding. And that has helped to drive a 30% reduction in overdose deaths, opioid overdose deaths here locally, which is giving people more opportunity. We've also, within Milwaukee County, we're the first in the entire state to offer whole blood transfusions in the field. And so when somebody is going through a trauma, it's about making sure that we continue to keep people at the center of what we do. But as governor, I'll also make sure to open up Badger Care as a public health option. Within our Badger Basics plan that we introduced just last week, we want to do that within our first 30 days, giving every single family in Wisconsin not just reliable access, but making sure that it's affordable and they can get the coverage when and whenever they need it. But we also have to tackle prescription drug costs, right? I mean, we have to make sure that the state can actually start to negotiate drug prices, having more transparency when it comes down to cost, but also reducing prior authorization barriers that many people see as well, and expanding access in rural communities so care is available when they need it. But healthcare is also mental health care, making sure that we have mental health navigators in all 72 counties across this state. And so my approach is simple: prevent problems early, expand access, and lower costs.
All right, I'm passing it to Robert to ask our climate accountability question. And the first two for this next question will be Mandela and then David.
Okay, the science is clear. We must rapidly transition to meet the immediate international greenhouse gas reduction targets to have the best chance to head off catastrophic climate change. This must begin by cutting emissions in half by the early 2030s. If elected, will you rapidly develop and implement a concrete and accountable plan to meet the global greenhouse reduction targets?
Well, thank you so much for this question. As many may know, I spent the bulk of my time as Lieutenant Governor focused on the issue of sustainability. I led our climate change task force, and that task force presented Wisconsin with the most comprehensive, actually our very first clean power plan in Wisconsin. The roadmap is already there. So the short answer is yes, and it's because I've already done it. And now we have an opportunity to update that plan for the time that we are in, and also for the technology that has developed over the last 6 years. And to that point, not only do we have the Clean Power Plan, we have the Office of Sustainability and Clean Energy to help get us there. We also have the Office of Environmental Justice that I created that will also help marginalized communities that have had the least access to renewable energy and have been the most impacted by climate change to be able to see the benefit of a just transition. Now, this is the work that I've been committed to because even out of office, I started an organization from scratch that worked with homeowners all across Wisconsin to provide assistance for weatherization work and energy assessments, and also to work with schools and school districts to create more sustainable learning environments for our students. In one school district, we have the state's first net zero school that's in Forest Edge Elementary in Oregon, Wisconsin. I truly believe that if our students can learn in a net zero sustainable school in any one school district, that should be the reality for all of our students, and a clean energy future has to be the reality for the whole of Wisconsin.
David, then Francesca.
All right. So I think first and foremost, we have to sorry about that. tornado warning. First and foremost, I think we have to take what's actually working in local communities and actually bring it statewide. As not only serving in the legislature for 7 years, I've been running the largest county, right, and working with the our county board of supervisors to build a climate action plan to reduce our carbon emissions to zero by 2050. And just give you a report, we're 50% on the way there already. And so, as the next governor, I would require annual emissions reporting and carbon scoring on every major project we're going to be doing in this state. Because if we're going to be spending our taxpayer dollars, we should also understand what the impact can be on our environment and what those long-term savings could be. But I would also launch a Green New Deal for our public schools, making sure that we retrofit buildings, lower utility costs, and we have to continue to look at how we can put more renewable energy on rooftops all across our state. And I think that this does two things. It not only makes our kids, their classrooms healthier, but it also lowers, bills for all of our taxpayers. And so it's important that if we want to do this in a way that also expands clean energy, but creates jobs and strengthen our economy, we need partnerships. And we have to partner with our local units of government, with our farmers, with businesses, because this is about producing results. And so I've shown what already works, and I'm ready to really deliver for the entire state.
Francesca, then Sarah.
No, I'm a very proud sponsor of the Climate Accountability Act, and it requires Wisconsin to have that visible plan to reduce carbon emissions. I'm also in favor of a carbon tax, and I think it's critical that we create a clean electricity standard. It's very similar to what's been introduced in Michigan, and focus on building renewable power and having a large infrastructure of that by 2030. Aiming to have 100% clean electricity by 2040. It's important to look at some of the upgrades that we're seeing with electric vehicles and ensuring that we have more charging stations. I think it's critical that we invest in a green state bank. And one of the most pressing issues that we are hearing about from all across the state includes data centers. And I think we have to look at enforcement of polluters and how can we tighten up our current legislation to ensure that implementation of regulations to protect ratepayers and letting big tech and corporations know that Wisconsin's natural resources are not for sale. And labor plays a critical role in building renewable, clean energy infrastructure. And so ensuring that workers across the state are able to get clean, green jobs that pay good wages where they have the right to collectively bargain and unionize are all part of renewable energy infrastructure and ensuring that we are moving Wisconsin towards clean energy and addressing the climate crisis head on.
Sarah, then Joel.
Yeah, I am very committed to making sure that we have a sustainable plan for green energy across the state. I actually had one of the first Chevy Bolts, one of the first ones coming off of the factory floor, and I love that car. But what it also taught me was that we did not have the infrastructure where I would be able to charge it all across the state. It was really challenging to be able to use that car as my main mode of transportation if I had to go up north in Wisconsin. We've got to do more for infrastructure in the state. And it is to protect our future generations, but we also have a very large outdoor recreation tourism economy in the state. And if we want to be able to protect and grow that, we've got to make sure our water is clean, that if you're going to fish in our lakes, if you're going to fish in our streams and rivers, that you can actually eat the fish that you're catching. These are the kind of things that we're going to need to be focused on as governor, and looking at that larger plan to make sure that we are carbon neutral as the state. And we're going to need to do that leadership at the state level because clearly we're not going to see it at the federal level. And if we are going to be emphasizing renewable energy, we know that that's going to lower costs across the whole state for individuals for their utilities. So being committed to this, it's not only good for future generations, but it's good for our economy in Wisconsin.
Joel, then Missy.
Yeah, thank you. And, I already mentioned that I have two children, and I think all of us feel the responsibility that we have to the next generation. I was proud to be working with Governor Evers when he set out by executive order the goal of 2050 being carbon free. But, and proud to work alongside people like Mandela and Missy in trying to do what we could. But I'll tell you, because of the environment that we have worked in, I'll tell you two things. One, the locals are ahead of us. As David was saying, there are places around the state that are doing things well beyond what we have done at the state level because they have not had the challenges that we have had with the legislature. The other thing, and Sarah just said it, is that we will get no help from the Trump administration in the near future. They are forcing things like coal plants to stay open. We all know that the cheapest, quickest way to create energy production right now is through renewables. It's through wind, it's through solar, and those are opportunities that we have to ensure that we're creating not only the sustainability and what we need for future generations, but also doing it in the smartest way and the most efficient way possible. And so those are the types of things I think that we have to do. Now, the context that's changing, the opportunity that we have is that we won't have the legislature that has been there over the last 8 years. We have the opportunity to do things very differently. I'm thrilled with that. And I think that there are things that we can do to both do it, to measure it, and to ensure that we're moving forward.
Lizzie, then Kelda.
So for 17 years, I worked at Organic Valley at the nexus of the economy working with the environment. So for 1,600 farmers who were working in conjunction with Mother Nature, were producing beautiful foods without the use of chemicals and pesticides, I understand that a company can be successful and profitable and move forward while still being concerned about the environment. At Organic Valley, we were among the first companies to begin reporting on our sustainability and our ability to meet the needs of our company while protecting against more carbon and providing renewable energy. We installed a community solar project. We installed 2 windmills. We had all of our projects able to be completely operated using renewable energy, and that was incredibly important. As I came to be Secretary of Economic Development, we were the first agency to create a vice president of sustainability and productivity because we were focused on helping our businesses to be able to understand that efficiency and working with the environment will ultimately result in them being more successful. And that is absolutely work that we need to continue. There are tons of opportunities in working with our manufacturers to find opportunities for more sustainability and to help them bring those into fruition.
Kelda.
Wisconsin has been a leader on conservation and the environment. And if we have a governor with the courage to use the political power that we're going to have, we can be that again. My plan for energy will lower costs and deliver cleaner air. We don't have any fossil fuels in Wisconsin. So every time that we are building our capacity for wind, for solar, for geothermal, that is wins because that's money staying here in Wisconsin. In addition, we have an opportunity for a real win-win blue-green coalition to create family-sustaining union jobs, building out our green infrastructure. Every single school, every public building should be heated and cooled by geothermal and powered by solar panels on the roof. We can do that if we have public financing through a public bank to help those projects get off the ground and repay those loans with the savings in energy. But we also have to be tough on polluters. We need a PSC that is going to be a watchdog for consumers and ratepayers. We need to force integrated resource planning so that utility companies don't just get a massive rate of return for building and building and building, even when we don't need it. We've got to bring coal-fired power plants offline because there is a link between human health and environmental health. And it's also a big driver of our high energy rates. And finally, as an attorney, I truly believe in environmental law and order. For too long, we have let polluters write their own permits in this state. It is time to let the DNR put science back in the driver's seat, whether it's managing our natural resources, protecting our clean air and water, and making sure that polluters pay for the harm that they have caused and remediate, not just get a slap on the wrist. This is important for every single one of us, but it's also important for our economy. Our top 3 industries are tourism, manufacturing, and ag. Every single one relies on natural resources.
Neat. We are now moving on to our question about minimum wage. The order will be Missy and then Francesca. So the affordability crisis is driven both by rising prices charged by monopolies in every sector of the economy and stagnant wages. In Wisconsin, 30% of households and 60% of Black households do not make a survival income, the income needed to afford the necessities of life. Do you support increasing Wisconsin minimum wage to $20 an hour, automatically indexing it to inflation annually, and removing state preemption on local minimum wages, which are higher than the state floor? Start with Missy and then Francesca.
Thank you so much. I am absolutely focused on building a strong economy for Wisconsin. It is my number one job as I come into being governor. We have to be making sure that we are creating good paying jobs, that we are continuing to help our businesses succeed, because that is how all Wisconsinites succeed. As I came into WEDC, our focus turned from big businesses like Foxconn to making sure that we are supporting all types of businesses all around the state and all types of employers and entrepreneurs who wanted to start their own businesses. This is how we lift up our economy. This is how we lift up Wisconsinites and make sure that every Wisconsinite has the opportunity to prosper. As I traveled around and talked to businesses, there is no business that is paying our minimum wage right now. We absolutely have to raise our minimum wage to at least where the market is, whether that's $15 or $20. I'd like to take the opportunity to study that and then have a graduated stepping up of it so that we can make sure we continue to meet where the minimum wage should be for our market and for our economy as we move forward. And we want to make sure that we are supporting our local communities as they're looking at innovative ideas and innovative ways to support the economy. As we worked, we allowed Wisconsinites to identify their priorities and follow them and follow our communities. That's where the great ideas are. That's where the practical solutions are.
Francesca, then Kelda.
Yes, I am very much in support of increasing the minimum wage to at least $20 an hour. Many businesses are already paying that, but this having a $20 minimum wage and ensuring that we are working towards it as fast as possible will make sure that some of those bad actor businesses are actually held accountable. We also have to ensure that we are abolishing the tipped minimum wage as well as the sub-minimum wage. Economic security and economic freedom belongs to everyone. And we know specifically within the disability community, we are seeing wage theft, and those are some of the workers that are least protected. And then ensuring that our local communities, you mentioned that state preemption, absolutely. Our local municipalities need to be able to increase their minimum wages to a living wage based on that municipality. But having a $20 minimum wage across the state, we are long past due. And we know that because of our current state minimum wage being $7.25 an hour, we are seeing too many workers fall behind as costs are going up, and it does not help us move towards permanent affordability and economic freedom for all working Wisconsinites.
Kelda, then Mandela.
Yes, I am the author of the state's living wage bill, which does raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour with a path to 20. This is essential for all Wisconsin workers, but it's not enough. We also need to expand union rights and restore collective bargaining for our public and private sector unions, as well as protections like prevailing wage and project labor agreements, and ending the right to work for less. We see rampant worker misclassification and wage theft, and those things should be punished like the crimes that they are. Theft is theft, even when a boss in a suit does it. As a small business owner, I feel like I'm in a great position to talk about why the minimum wage needs to be up. And as a matter of fact, it's not the small businesses that are usually engaged in wage suppression. It is the big multinational corporations that are able to affect a sort of monopoly on jobs in an area. If there's only a few big employers, then they can hold wages down if workers don't have power. That's why raising the minimum wage is so important for workers. We also need to decouple benefits from work. It shouldn't matter what kind of job you have. You should deserve paid family leave. We can fund that by legalizing cannabis and helping pay the cost. Universal access to early childhood education that is affordable at no more than 7% of your income. Health insurance, you should be able to buy into the state plan, which is a low-cost nonprofit insurance plan, and everyone should be able to participate and buy into the Wisconsin retirement system. Wages and benefits don't necessarily have to be tied to your job because those benefits should belong to everyone. I think Wisconsin can thrive, but only if our workers do, including the care workers that are most likely to be underpaid.
Right. Mandela, then David.
Absolutely. So short answer, yes. I remember back in 2013, 2014, even with Citizen Action members being out there protesting for $15 in a union. It has been 12, 13, 14 years since we were out there and our minimum wage is still $7.25. It is an embarrassment that people could potentially be paid this low money. And it is also making it difficult for people to get ahead, people who are on the margins, who can't afford health insurance, you name it. And the biggest criticisms that we got when we were protesting for $15 in a union, when we were out there organizing, is they said it would increase inflation. Inflation has happened and costs have driven up exponentially while people are still being paid the same amount of money. Now, it's important because, usually I talk about the story of my grandfather moving to Milwaukee after his service in the Navy during World War II and getting a job as a union steel worker at A.O. Smith, was able to walk in that building one day, walk out essentially 35 to 40 years later and retire comfortably. He was able to create a middle-class foundation that allowed me to be here today. And it feels more difficult for people in my age to be able to get, in my age group, to be able to get into the middle class. And especially is the case for those who are younger than me. And if you look at wages not keeping up with inflation, that also is tied to the decline in union membership because a tax on union membership launched by bad faith Republican politicians. So yes, we have to increase wages and restore collective bargaining rights for public and private sector employees.
Right. David, then Joel.
Thank you. It is really unfortunate that we are still having this conversation. I'm reminded, when I had my first job was in the year of 2000, and I made $7.50 an hour. If you think about that, that means that the minimum wage is $7.25. I made a quarter more than what folks are getting at the very minimum. And so, as governor, we absolutely, all of us agree that we have to raise the minimum wage. That's extremely important for every community across Wisconsin. But we also have to make sure that it's indexed to inflation so wages can actually keep up with the cost of living. But we also have to remove the state preemption laws that are out there so local communities, municipalities, they can go further when needed because we know the cost of living changes depending on where exactly you live, even in a big county like Milwaukee County. But it's also important that we repeal Act 10 and right to work, right? It's not just about fairness. It's about how do we really invest in rebuilding a strong middle class in the state of Wisconsin. I truly believe that when workers do better, we all do better. When families do better, we all do better. But it also allows our economy to continue to grow stronger. And that's the type of Wisconsin I'm going to continue to fight for. We've been doing this for too long for us not to do it right now.
Right. Joel and Sarah.
Yeah, well, since the first of this year, or at the first of this year, I think 18 states did something with the minimum wage. Wisconsin continued for 17 years to do nothing. David, it was a lot longer ago for me than 2000 to have my first job, but I think all of us probably had a job where we worked at minimum wage and as we got into the workforce. And we know what that feels like. The challenge is that so many people in the state of Wisconsin are still trapped in that. If we were to increase the minimum wage to $15 now, that's 18% of women in Wisconsin who would get a raise from that. Like those are real, and those are the types of things that we need to make sure we're doing as an economy if we're going to bring everyone along. As other people have said, the preemption and the opportunities for things like paid family and medical leave, which I was with Governor Evers, and we increased or included in two of our budgets, our proposed budgets. Those are the types of things that can also complement this. Even if we were to increase the minimum wage to $15 to $20 an hour, and this may be a little different issue, but I want to make sure people understand it. Like the people who are working in childcare now are making $14 to $16 an hour. We are about, by the end of June, the resources that have been propping up the childcare system here are going to go away, and we're going to have a full-blown crisis there. Like, even if we were doing that, there's a whole sector in our workforce that is now failing us, or we're failing them, and they're supposed to be doing some of the most important things we can. So yes, we need to make sure we're working on this, and and we need to make it sustainable for the long term.
Thank you. Sarah.
So, I'm my daughter's Girl Scout leader, and one of the things that I did with them is take the state's minimum wage, and then we went online and looked at how much a one-bedroom apartment cost in Waukesha, how much utilities are going to cost in Waukesha, and walked them through how this is not even close to being sustainable for even one person, much less a family. And so we are going to have to do a lot of work as well in educating people why this is important. Why is it important that we increase that minimum wage from 15 or up to $20 an hour? And tying it to inflation so we don't get in this spiral again. Those are the kind of things that we're going to have to be communicating on well so that we can get broader support across the state. I know I had submitted my child care plan almost a month ago, making sure that families pay no more than 7% of their income within childcare, but is also tied to making sure that childcare providers are paid a minimum of $18 an hour. We know that this is an important work in our state. We know that we have to make sure we are investing in it. And right now, we are not paying childcare workers what they're worth. So yes, I am in favor of increasing the minimum wage. We can start at 15 and then keep moving up to make sure we can get to a place where it is actually livable for people. But also tying around is that public information of why this is necessary and why we have to do this now.
All right. Candidates, you can take a nice collective breath. You are halfway through. I'm going to add myself as a spotlight really quick because, I want to thank you all for keeping such good time still. Shout out to our wonderful operations director, Molly, for holding down the time in the chat. Also to take a moment to talk about that we're at like 545 attendees between this and Facebook. People are interested. That's amazing. So during this next question now, attendees, you are going to see the straw poll link in the chat. We encourage you, click on that link. Tell us what you think, if we should endorse, who we should endorse. It's going to be dropped in the chat multiple times tonight. It's going to be sent out in the morning. It's going to be on the Facebook live stream that will also be sent out as well. But with that, we have our next question on data centers, and our order will be Kelda and then Missy. Take it away, Robert.
And I'll add watch parties in 5 places around the state watching, so which are not counted in that counter. So let's go to data centers. So the rapid build out of data centers without comprehensive state planning threatens the urgent need to rapidly cut greenhouse gas emissions and will massively increase already expensive utility costs for homeowners and renters. Do you support pausing data center building until comprehensive guardrails can be established to require 100% of increased energy capacity come from much cheaper renewable energy, make utility prices affordable, guarantee that, and guarantee high-paying union jobs, both for building the data centers and for their long-term operation?
Kelda and then
Yeah.
Missy.
Thank you. Right now, what we have is completely unacceptable. The biggest, most powerful, wealthy companies in the history of the world are coming into our Wisconsin communities, who, by the way, have been starved of resources by Republican politicians to the point that they can't even pave their roads, kind of shaking a bag of money in front of them and getting sweetheart deals in secret. This is totally unacceptable. We need strong state guardrails that put our local communities in a powerful negotiating position vis-a-vis these companies. There must be public transparency and real local control, including the power to say no. We don't want a data center, or we don't want it here, or we don't want it this way. There have to be protections for workers so that every worker is a union worker paid a high family supporting wage. There need to be protections for the environment, for land, air, and water, and remediation. And there need to be protections for ratepayers to make sure that we are not subsidizing the data center. And in fact, they need to subsidize us. We need data centers to be paying us for the privilege of profiting off of Wisconsin's bounty, whether that's our workers or our natural resources, to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. These things print money, and it is not acceptable for us to not get our fair share. Now, what we also don't want to happen is to have data centers go to completely unregulated states, because we know that pollution doesn't stay in state borders, right? Water crosses borders, and we are connected with our utility grid. So we're going to be paying the high costs if states don't regulate. That is why it is essential that Wisconsin be a leader in passing very strong regulations that make sure that to the extent.
All right, Missy and then David.
So I support legislation that protects the environment in these conversations, makes sure that we give DNR the tools to be strong negotiators as they are sitting down at the table with these incredibly large companies. I was in those rooms, and while we were fighting to make sure to protect Wisconsin's ratepayers and Wisconsin's environment, having the words of the Wisconsin people behind us in the form of legislation would be an amazing tool to be able to say, these are the table stakes for how you can come to Wisconsin and be a partner, and we have to have those in place. So legislation that would protect the environment, protect ratepayers, make sure that these projects are being built by union workers along with the renewable energy, that we have to build a path for the data centers to be able to rely on. The last piece is making sure that we have a plan for taking these data centers down, because I believe that as technology continues to advance, we're going to see an opportunity to not have these massive data centers. And we want to make sure that we are protecting Wisconsin from those data centers just sitting there in the long run. We need to be able to pull them down and return to what was there before. And then finally, we got to be able to walk away. If companies not wanting to be a partner with us, then we have to have the ability to walk away and know that Wisconsin will have more opportunities for its economy to grow. And with a strong governor like me, I'll be able to find those opportunities.
Thank you. David, then Joel.
So I think the state of Wisconsin is at a crossroad. We need to make a decision on whether or not we want these data centers. If we say no, especially without a framework, my biggest fear is these projects moving somewhere next door, moving to a Michigan, an Illinois, or a Minnesota, who would have fewer protections, fewer regulations, and it's still going to affect our air and our water because it doesn't stop at the border. But if we do make this decision that we're at least open to these data centers, we need a framework and quite honestly, we need to set the strongest standards in the entire country. We need to make sure that every data center in Wisconsin will be required to be ran on 100% renewable energy, and make sure that they pay the full cost of any infrastructure upgrades, that they use union labor, that they meet strict environmental standards at the exact same time, because we have to protect our environment. And so we will require them to enter into community benefit agreements as well. So not only local communities, but our entire state can really see those returns, hopefully investing even more in our public infrastructure, our schools, and direct utility rate release for every single family. And so I do believe it can provide an opportunity to grow our economy, but we have to make sure the framework is in there to do it responsibly, making sure that development works for the people and not just the corporations who are building them.
Joel, then Sarah.
In a rapidly changing landscape here, there are two things I would say that are certainties. One, when the state passed this legislation, the tax credit to ensure that we could kind of get the table stakes and be in the data center business, I think the state should have created then guardrails and some more predictability for everybody involved. The second thing that's a certainty is the legislature is not going to do anything about this between now and when one of us takes office next year. And that's a problem. That's a problem that the legislature is not doing anything. And so I have said, yes, I would be willing to take a pause in the first few months of my administration, but I don't think we have a long way to go. There is legislation that has been proposed. I have had conversations as recently as this week with the authors of that legislation around, and that was done with stakeholders and input from lots of places around the state. I even had a suggestion that while the Republican poison pill bill that would have been awful for everyone, that there were some aspects in it around transparency, around related to water, that are actually things that could be absorbed into that legislation. So I don't think this is something that we need to wait on forever. I think there needs to be predictability and transparency around this. I think we need to make sure that none of us and no taxpayer is paying for the construction, the operation, the long-term cost, the transmission, the getting rid of it, as Missy said. So, and we need to make sure that there are environmental standards, working conditions, what the local units of government have. So I think we can do that in the early months of 2027 and move forward here.
Sarah, then Francesca.
So I've been really clear that we need to have a floor for legislation for the data centers. Number one, this has to be an open conversation with the community. What community members are telling me is sometimes these data centers, they find out about them after the ink on the contract has already been signed, that there are NDAs, that they're not getting information from the community. That is unacceptable in the state of Wisconsin. Number two, they have to pay enhanced rates for their electricity. Not only do they have to pay their full way, but we know there's going to be pressure on our grid and additional maintenance costs. So we want to make sure that those data centers are paying for that. And they need to invest in renewable energy. They want to build here in Wisconsin. You've got to invest in renewable energy here. Secondly, if they're going to be using water, we have to know how much, and we have to know if they're taking it out of our system and they're putting it back in, that it is at the same quality and the same temperature as they took it out. That's the floor. But communities can decide that they can have even more stringent regulations, or they can decide, you know what? We do not want to have data centers within our community. That should be okay. We should unrestrict the local communities to make sure that they can do their own restrictions if they so choose. But we have to have that floor for statewide regulation. It's that critical.
Francesca, then Mandela.
Yes, I support a pause, and this is paramount to ensure that we can allow communities to have community control, that we have a plan to invest in alternative energy, and that we are deleting corporate subsidies. I said control, alt, delete there. That's the plan. We right now, as outlined previously, do not have the enforcements that we need on polluters to hold them accountable. We need time to be able to implement the regulations and to protect our natural resources. And that is going to take time in the legislature to ensure that we can get to a place where communities feel safer and feel like they have the resources to make these decisions in their local communities. No NDAs, ensuring that their ratepayers are not going to be seeing increases in their utility bills. We've also introduced a 2% rate cap bill where we would ensure that ratepayers do not pay more than 2% of their monthly salary. And I think it's critical that the moratorium bill that we have introduced that would put a pause on the construction of new AI data centers, that in order to have that ready on day one, we are meeting with stakeholders right now, construction workers who have brought concerns to me that these are not only family sustaining jobs, but some of them have paid off their mortgages. It is critical right now to have that pause to ensure that that moratorium gives us time to actually have the regulations in place before new AI data centers are constructed here in the state.
Mandela.
So it all comes down to regulation. And the tough part here was when you have this conversation, you're thinking about the most profitable companies in the entire world to ever exist. And if you think about social media, you think about big tech in general and the outsized influence that it has had on all of our lives. The fact is, it has happened that way because there has been little to no regulation. There have been no guardrails. As social media has exacerbated the mental health crises, especially of our youth, has exacerbated political polarization, the list goes on and on and on. The fact is, these data centers feel as if there's some sort of physical manifestation of everything we have ever been worried about when it comes to them. That being said, a stringent set of rules, regulation that includes conducting a statewide study before any new data center is constructed. And with that study of the impacts, ensuring that there is a mechanism to evaluate even the regional impacts, and also to ensure that water usage is not going to impact or impede on water quality, ensuring that people's utility rates will not go up. And then the most important part is probably ongoing public reporting. So many people feel left in the dark. We have to ban the non-disclosure agreements. We have to ensure that the public knows exactly what is going on every step of the way throughout the life cycle of that data center. All we are asking for them is to be good neighbors. If they cannot be good neighbors, they have no place in Wisconsin.
All right. Now on to our next question is on energy burden. Before I read it, I do just want to thank again everybody for attending, and I'm going to drop another link in the chat. We encourage you to become a member. Help us do what we are collectively trying to do and make a better Wisconsin. Now is a great time to become a member. But we are moving on to our question around energy burden. The order for this will start with Joel and then go to Francesca. So the energy burden on homeowners and renters has become a leading affordability issue. According to the Century Fund, the average utility debt for those who have fallen behind is now $1,500. The energy burden falls hardest on communities of color and rural residents with low incomes and older, less energy efficient homes. Despite this, the Public Service Commission continues to rubber stamp double-digit rate increases, guarantee utility profits of nearly 10%, and allow them to suppress large-scale residential energy efficiency and cheaper distributed renewable energy controlled by individuals and communities. So what do you propose to make this necessity affordable for everyone? We'll start with Joel.
Thanks for that. And, I spent 3 years as the Secretary of the Department of Administration. And in that role, we administered the Wisconsin, the Energy Assistance Program at the Wisconsin level. We also took in funds from the low-income housing energy assistance from the federal level, some things that the Trump administration are trying to cut back. We also were engaged in a number of the weatherization programs, working with our colleagues and with a group around the state of the CAP agencies to ensure that we're doing things to prepare for things for this. So there are things that already exist in state government. I think we can do more to leverage the use of those things and ensure that they are done in a fashion that protects our taxpayers and protects people around the state. But everything that we do has to be around affordability. No matter which one of us gets elected next year, if we as Democrats aren't focused on people's affordability, it's something that we're going to lose the opportunity to lead in very short order. So one of the things that I think is important, no matter what we do, are the types of people that we will appoint to the Public Service Commission. Wisconsin was the first place to establish a Public Service Commission, and there are things that we can do to ensure that we put the public back into that Public Service Commission role. So those are the people who I would appoint to that would be representative and reflective of how I want to make sure that we can continue to have affordability be something that we focus on.
Francesca, then Sarah.
This past session, I introduced the 2% rate cap bill, and this would ensure that for a monthly average income for working families here across the state would pay no more than 2% of that monthly income. The PSC would be directed to create a energy burden relief fund that would help ensure that folks have funds available there would be funds available for the state to help people pay for their utility and energy bills. I think it's also critical to make sure that nobody has their electricity or water shut off. And so for folks under 300% of the federal poverty level, that the PSC would be directed to not do utility shutoffs. And it's imperative that we hold large energy companies accountable. They go to the PSC with asks of increasing rates. And so Joel's absolutely right. The people who are appointed to the PSC, we need to make sure that they share the values of working class people and understand the struggles of utility costs that are going upwards of 30%. I talked to a woman in Rhinelander who was talking to me about that. I think in addition to all of it is, though, we have to have more enforcement and more teeth in current legislation. That's what we're hearing from folks who are on the PSC as well, to make sure that they also have they have a way to be able to ensure that they hold these energy companies accountable, so that when they are going to them with rate increase proposals, that the state has the resources and the tools that they need to ensure that these energy companies are actually held accountable for where they are going to put that money for the rate increases.
Sarah, then David.
So yeah, I hear from people all the time. I've gone to all 72 counties every year. I've been lieutenant governor, and some of the most heartbreaking stories are those individuals who are on fixed income. And they're seeing not only their utility costs increase, but their property taxes increase. So much so that I met a woman in her 60s in Dane County who had a paid off home, who had worked every day of her life, but now was looking at having to sell that home because she could no longer afford to live there because of property taxes and because of the increases in utilities. We know that the increases in Wisconsin have been higher than any of our neighbors. We are going to have to look at that comprehensively to determine why we are allowing these rate increases to go, and it is hitting the ones who can least afford it the most. So we're going to have to look at that comprehensively to make sure that that when they come to the PSC and they're asking for that rate increase, that makes sense, that the people on that board understand what that means to individuals who have fixed incomes. And we've got to make sure that if you are having renewable energy on your house, that you get full credit for that, that you're not penalized for actually having solar panels on your roof, that you're not penalized for doing something within the state that's actually going to make the costs go down. And we have to look at the timeline for things like community solar. Right now, public community solar, right now, it takes over a year for those projects to even get approved. We've got to be able to shorten that timeline so that we can have other individuals be able to buy into that to be able to lower their costs.
David, then Kelda.
Everywhere I go, I mean, this is one of the hottest topics that we're hearing about. I mean, everybody is being crushed by these utility costs. Families across the state, your family, including mine, comparing my bill from January 2026 to 2025, $100 more. And it's been like that ever since we've had to heat up our home. And so in our Budget Basics plan, I built my entire energy plan around one simple idea, one simple test. And we have to ask ourselves, every time we're making decisions, will it lower costs for ratepayers? And so first and foremost, we have to deliver instant rebates right at that point of sale, so families can see those savings immediately instead of having to contact these utility companies, nor when they want to invest in solar upgrades, they shouldn't have to take on so much personal debt. But second, we know that data centers are here and they're already increasing the cost. And so one, we have to require those data centers and quite frankly, big tech to pay for the full cost of those energy upgrades that they require and that we're seeing that are being shifted onto our bills. And so we have to stop the cost shifting onto working families and individuals in our state because it's squeezing them out of control. And then third, we have focused on energy, the efficiency program that we all pay into that helps to build the clean energy infrastructure. Well, if we can't continue to build because we have so many projects in the pipeline, how about we use that to go directly to ratepayers on their monthly as a bill credit?
All right, Kelda, then Mandela.
Wisconsin has the highest energy costs in the Midwest, and it is not a mystery why. We don't need a long study to investigate it. It's because utilities are a monopoly. You can't compete and go to a different lower cost electricity company. They get their service area and the government gives them a monopoly. And the second reason is because we've got the foxes guarding the henhouse. We need PSC appointees that will actually be regulators, that will be consumer watchdogs, that are conversant in the fact that the cleanest, greenest, quickest, and cheapest energy are wind and solar, the very energy sources that are the best for us. My energy plans are going to lower costs and have cleaner air so we can bring coal-fired power plants offline more quickly. We also need to attack the guaranteed rate of return, which Wisconsin also has one of the highest in the Midwest. If you could put your money somewhere and it would generate a 10% rate of return, nearly 10%, of course you would do it. So I want to see that rate brought back down to earth because that is the best way to lower electricity costs. We are also going to fund the Citizens Utility Board and the PSC so that their staff can actually contest these rate cases and can dismantle some of the assumptions or claims that are brought forth by utility companies. And finally, we're going to require integrated resource planning. So utilities don't just get to come and present their own case, they actually have to cooperate and collaborate to save power.
Mandela, then Missy.
Absolutely. So our utilities are regulated. What we need to do is beef up accountability. And I'm no stranger to taking on utility companies. Before I even ran for office, I was a part of a coalition, and I think Citizen Action may have also been a part of that Cleaner Valley coalition that took on We Energies because of the impact of coal burning power plants on low income and Black and brown communities. And make no mistake, these are the same communities that are bearing the impact of increased utility costs. And I put out my plan to freeze the rates. But not only does it freeze the rates, we also are seeking to cap executive pay because over the last few years, we've seen the the We Energy CEO's salary go from $4 million to $12 million. And they just proposed a new rate hike. And if this rate hike is approved, we will see utility rates increase 50% since 2020. And that is completely unacceptable for us to be subsidizing and financing the lifestyles of the most wealthy individuals around us. I've also been on energy assistance myself. And that's why I've been so dedicated and committed to ensuring that we lower costs. And that's the work that I've been up to since I've been out of office, working directly with income eligible households to provide that assistance to weatherize their homes so they don't have to pay these increased costs because of leaky window sills or poor insulation. And finally, we need energy independence in this state, which calls for increased solar, geothermal, and wind capacity, also with opportunity to build virtual power plants.
Missy.
You know, when we talk about affordability and energy, we're talking often about our most vulnerable populations. These are populations that are looking at their different bills, whether it is groceries or healthcare or energy, and making these decisions on a week-to-week basis. And that's why we need to have the safety nets in place, the good programs that we have to make sure that we aren't pulling the rug out from anybody, because understandably, when you're choosing between groceries and medicine and energy, you're probably going to choose groceries and medicine first and hope you can find the ability to pay for that energy. But we also have to keep in mind that for vulnerable communities, they're most often affected by a weak grid. So where we have power outages, where we don't have accessibility to cooling, to heating, especially in the extreme weather events that we're facing right now, we will see those vulnerable communities are the hardest hit in those moments. And so we have to make sure that while we're protecting and working with these to protect these vulnerable communities, we are also creating a grid that will withstand the incredible climate change and extreme events that we're facing right now. So this is a balance. Wisconsin has a regulated system. We need to make sure that we have experts that are looking at every angle of this at the PSC level. And we need to make sure that we are thinking about our consumers and about a sustained provision of energy for our whole state.
All right, passing it over to Robert for a question on revenue, education, and public services. The order will be Francesca, then David.
Okay, this is the last big substantive question. The state has reneged on its obligation to adequately fund public education and created unaccountable voucher school system that is siphoning off more resources. This and Wisconsin's other major challenges, including the chronic underfunding of core public services, cannot be addressed without increasing revenue. In response to decades of regressive tax policy and historic income inequality, many states are requiring the wealthy and the most profitable corporations to pay their fair share. Specifically, how will you raise the revenue needed to address the challenges faced by multiracial working and middle-class Wisconsinites?
First, I'll start off with public dollars belong in public schools. We cannot afford to fund two different public school systems, and it is paramount that we responsibly end the voucher system in our state. One of the ways that we can increase revenue to bring additional funding for our schools is to tax the billionaires. A 1% increase on the current billionaire class, in addition to adding a tax bracket run under that for the multimillionaires, can help us reduce property taxes by up to 40% and help put those resources into funding special special education at least 90%, which is what the voucher schools receive right now. And when we are moving towards building, and we have to move towards building a new shared revenue system that is equitable, as well as a new school funding formula that is not tied to property taxes. We have a constitutional obligation to fund our public schools. And I think that when we have a shared revenue system and local municipalities have the ability to move towards a more progressive tax system, that we are going to be able to bring in additional revenues to make sure that working class people have resources they need, but most importantly, that our kids have what they need to thrive. Regardless of where you send your kid, we know that increasing public services, ensuring that we are strengthening our public services will help us remove ourselves from the harms of privatization.
David, then Sarah.
Well, being the closest one, particularly to in local government, being a county executive, it's extremely important that we improve the antiquated way that we fund local units of government as well as our school funding. The last time we've taken a holistic view of not just taxes, but also spending here in the state of Wisconsin was in 1984. And so much has changed since then. And so, public education, this is personal for me. I'm a product of Milwaukee Public Schools. My wife went to Milwaukee Public Schools. All three of my daughters go to MPS as well. And so this is important for me. And so, one, we need to restore the 2/3 funding formula commitment. That is supposed to be there. We're supposed to meet that obligation. And let's face it, that would naturally ease much of the property tax pressures, local property tax pressures that we're seeing in local communities, so we can stop people from having to go to referendum to make sure that our public schools have the necessary funds that they need. We need to close the special education reimbursement gap. We need to fund universal pre-K starting at age 3. And we have to, eliminate tuition at technical colleges and two-year UW campuses. And so we have to utilize our budget as a moral document. And that means that public education has to continue to be the foundation of opportunity in this state. And I will fund it because I believe that. And so our children are our future and we depend on them. And so it's important that we find a new funding formula for education and local units of government.
Sarah, then Mandela.
So we have got to make sure we are fully funding our public schools. We continue to vote to raise our own property taxes, not even to build a new middle school or to make a new science lab, but to just keep the lights on, the doors open, and the teachers paid. That means this is broken and we have got to fix it. But it's not just about increasing the amount of money that we give to these schools. We have to change the funding formula itself. So right now we fund our schools very categorically, but we don't look holistically at the whole child. And that really makes it a challenge for schools. I'll give you an example. I was in Delavan and they went from very low English language learners to an increase of 5 to 6% in a very short period of time. Did not get extra dollars to be able to manage those children. So they have to steal from Peter to pay Paul to make sure these kids get the education that they need. That is critical that we need to do that. But we are also failing our children in Wisconsin. We have one of the lowest literacy rates for Black and brown children in the country. So we have got to not only make sure they are fully funded so teachers can do what they need to do, but we've got to be implementing some innovative models so that we can address these types of disparities. I'll give you an example. Mississippi went from the lowest literacy rate to one of the highest in the country in a very short period of time, but they put these innovative models together. We've got to look at that holistically, and we've got to be able to give the teachers the tools that they need.
Mandela, then Kelda.
Thank you so much. Public education is the foundation of everything. Wouldn't be here without it. And the fact is, I have been served by my public school, although the fact is, my school was chronically underfunded and under-resourced, just like so many others in the vicinity. And that is because the state legislature has failed to meet its commitment to 2/3 fund. It has some of the greatest teachers, gave it everything they have, but some of my classmates, a lot of my peers, continue to struggle. And that is because, unfortunately, we don't look at the whole child, as was mentioned before. And in the legislature, I introduced the community schools bill to ensure that we do everything that we possibly can to focus on a child before they set foot in the building, and also once they leave the building to make sure they have the proper supports. so many of our students have mental and physical health needs that go unaddressed. And if our students aren't showing up to school prepared to learn, guess what? They won't learn. One of the main reasons that we have such low reading scores with so many of our youth is because of underlying issues. And there have been a number of studies that have shown that many of our students just have poor vision. It's not that they can't read. These students are bright. These students are brilliant. These students are smart. But unfortunately, the challenges that they face have yet to be addressed because as a society, essentially so many of our youth have been given up on from the very start. So not only do we have to fully fund public education, we have to create support and resources for our educators, and we have to make sure that all of our children are showing up to school on level playing field.
Kelda, then Missy.
My family's first home was a one-room schoolhouse in rural Taylor County, north of Highway 29. That's where I started in public school because my parents knew that Wisconsin was the education state, and as a modest earning family, their kids could get a great public education. I finished later in Madison, where my own kids go now, and I can see how we are shortchanging our kids. We have not met our constitutional obligation, and when I hear people bragging about a surplus, it makes me furious. Because that is not a surplus. That is money that has been stolen from our children to circumscribe their future. I have been a champion for public education throughout my entire career, and I've spent 25 years trying to elect pro-public education candidates that will invest in our kids. And I am proud to be the candidate that today has earned the endorsement of Wisconsin's teachers, WEAC, one of the most important voices in the entire state, and the moral authority on funding our public schools. Now, as a member of the Joint Finance Committee, I have fought for early childhood education for our universities and technical colleges, but above all for K-12, and to bring this voucher scheme to a responsible end. I am the candidate with a plan to do that, and the track record of fighting for it for years, and the trust of those on the front line who are teaching our kids.
Missy, then Joel.
As I travel around the state and talk with communities that have been subject to referendum after referendum, it is incredibly divisive in communities. And I see communities that haven't passed referendums as communities that are in decline. Their main streets are suffering from emptiness and lack of renovation. Businesses are leaving, folks are leaving. Strong public schools make strong communities. And we need to set as a North Star, making sure that our public schools are the first choice for parents as they're looking for where to send their children. And there is no other doubt in their minds about where they want to send their children. Once we do that, as we move towards fully funding our public schools, as we move towards supporting our public school teachers, we will see that parents will choose their public schools. Then we will see that legislators into the future will not be able to defund our public schools as they have been. We have to create a sustaining model for supporting our public schools so that we don't have a situation where at the end of every January and every June, when people open up their property tax bills, they're mad at the public schools. We have to be able to fully fund our public schools so that they are the first choice of our parents.
And Joel.
Thank you. I married a girl whose parents were both public school teachers in Peoria, Illinois. And so and Audra and I sent our kids to the Milwaukee Public Schools for a combined 22 years. These are issues that are personal for all of us. I spent an evening about 6 weeks ago in a gymnasium in Hustisford, Wisconsin, a community of about 1,200 people, and they were wrestling with whether or not to pass an operating referendum. This is the third time they've tried, and they've run a deficit for the last 5 years, a negative fund balance. In the best of circumstances, their ideas were either they could consolidate with the district around them or they could dissolve. They lost again last week, and so they're moving towards dissolution of that district that's been around for 150 years in the next few years. Like, this is what we are leaving people with. And I will tell you, that was one of 60 operating referendums that was on the ballot last week. More of them passed than failed, but we still have challenges with those, and the numbers are going down. And so the one-of-one system that we have in funding public schools in Wisconsin that was created in 1993 was never meant to last more than a few years. It is something that we absolutely need to do. There's a lawsuit that's been filed. At the end of that lawsuit, either it'll say, we'll do it, or the legislature and the governor will do it. That's what we should be doing. That should be our responsibility as one of the first tasks we can take on next year.
Right. And moving on to our closing statements, we will be starting with Kelda and then Francesca. So Robert, go ahead and ask.
So, well, before I do that, just thank you all seven for running for governor at this critical time, taking this on, and for participating here, and just for this extremely substantive debate. This was in stark contrast to the rhetoric of hatred and even genocide that we are seeing at the national level. So this is an exhibition of what we need to rebuild democracy, this kind of in-depth discussion. So in your close, what we're interested in, obviously you're running for governor and you think that you have something important to contribute. But if you can make your cases for why people should vote for you in particular in this excellent field, and then further why Citizen Action in Wisconsin, given what we work on, should endorse you.
We start with Kelda and then Francesca.
Thank you so much for having me. I am running for governor to raise wages, lower costs, and to protect our freedoms. This is a terrifying time for this country. We have a federal authoritarian regime that is hell-bent on destroying our Constitution and our economy. And our governor's first and most important job is to help protect and pull our democracy back from the brink, and to help lead the way for a better world that can come after Trump. I am running for governor because I have spent my entire adult life working to build progressive power and actually getting things done in the toughest legislative environment. All of my friends running are good people with good ideas and good values, but I am the only candidate with a 2-decade track record of actually turning those progressive ideas into law and getting them passed. I know what it is to have power, and I have seen how Democrats have let power slip through their fingers because they were unwilling or too timid to use it. We need a leader with moral courage and with clarity, with the experience and the effectiveness to get it done. And we need somebody who can win, because it doesn't matter if we flip the assembly and flip the Senate if we lose the governorship to Tom Tiffany. And make no mistake, even in a good Democratic year, that is unfortunately a risk. I am building a strong grassroots campaign, and I ask for your support and your vote on August 11th and November 3rd. And I would love Citizen Action's endorsement. Thank you.
Thank you. Francesca and then David.
Thanks so much, Priscilla, Molly, and Robert, for being here tonight, and to your entire team at Citizen Action. You know, I mentioned earlier that this is a movement moment, and this is about ensuring that we are building sustained working class people power and that we have the organizing apparatus to do it. And that's what this campaign is about, to ensure that there are more people engaged in politics, fighting to make sure that their voice is heard in government. We had over 7,400 individual donations for our campaign. We're looking at almost 12,000 donors who are coming to support our campaign. It is critical right now that we are engaging young people in building a multiracial, multi-generational, multi-ethnic coalition to ensure that we are organizing power, not just in August, not just in November, but after that. Citizen Action has showed us an incredible way of how we can continue to engage folks in becoming organizers in their community. We have to build on that. And so I think that when we are looking at how we can ensure that we have the trifecta to put into place all of these great ideas that we are hearing today, I'm the person that as soon as I got elected in August of 2020, I got the hell out of Dane County and made sure that we were helping candidates win in other parts of the state. We need new voices to come into this work. We have to make sure that we are meeting this moment when folks are tired of the status quo, want to hold billionaires accountable, and have a working class government that is for working class people. You can check out our full policy platform at francescahong.com and be sure to follow us on social media.
All right, David and then Mandela.
First and foremost, I want to thank Wisconsin Citizen Action and the entire team for putting this on together, and to everyone who joined us this evening. You know, the next governor not only needs to be a proven leader, but they need to be a proven winner. You have to ask yourself, can we turn out voters in the city of Milwaukee? Can we turn out voters in suburban communities? And can we connect with rural voters? When I won my re-election in 2024, I won with 85% of the vote. And the Republicans really fear me coming out of this August primary because they know I'm the most competitive candidate to beat Tom Tiffany in November. And particularly those individuals who are tired and exhausted by MAGA, but may not be a part of our party. I know they will vote for me. And the Republicans fear this because those individuals voted for me twice. And that's because they know I understand what rural communities, what urban communities, everyone in this state are going through. And that's because I lived it. I remember coming home not knowing if there'll be food on the table or if our lights will be on, or whether my belongings will be on the curb due to another eviction because of my mother's addiction. And so if my campaign sounds a little bit different, it's because it is. It is built on proven policy that I've been able to implement as the second highest executive in the state of Wisconsin, running the second largest government in our state and delivering for our people. We've delivered affordable housing. We've given millions to small businesses. We've cut carbon emissions by 30 in half, reduced opioid deaths by 30%, and we got Republicans and Democrats to come together to bring more money to every community across this state. And with your help, we will win in August and beat Tom Tiffany in November.
Right. Mandela, then Joel.
Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. And I don't look at this as what I will do. I don't even look at this as what we will do. I look at this as what we have done together, or at least what we have tried. Now, my engagement and partnership with Citizen Action has spanned the time, whether I have been in office or I have not been in office. We have taken on the status quo. We have taken on a broken system time and time again. But now the difference is the opportunity that lies ahead of us if we get the majority in the Assembly and the Senate, and also win the governor's office, to truly bring change to the state of Wisconsin that we so desperately deserve. Every time I've put my name on the ballot, it has been because things have been so difficult and so challenging and so distressing that we have needed real leadership to overcome these hurdles. And this campaign is going to come down to experience, and governing is going to come down to experience. I am the person who has the most experience in this race, showing up all across Wisconsin, flying the same banner that I fly in Milwaukee and Madison as I do in rural parts of Wisconsin, talking about the same message about improving quality of life, about raising wages, because the folks who used to work in shuttered factories, or the communities that have seen their neighborhoods in decline, as well as the rural neighborhoods who've seen main streets in decline and their family farms being gobbled up by corporate interests, we are all facing the same opponent, and that's corporate greed. And we need a governor who truly understands how to unite and build those coalitions. I have done it before, and I'm here to do it again, and hopefully with your support.
Joel, then Missy.
First of all, thanks for having me here, everybody at Citizen Action, and for being with my friends tonight. We hear this said every year that elections have consequence. And in some ways, in many ways, we are still dealing with the consequence of the 2010 election. When Scott Walker was elected, when they gerrymandered the maps, Act 10, all that happened over the last 16 years in Wisconsin, and much of what we have tried little by little to fight back against in the Evers administration, but we still live with the reality of that in a Wisconsin, in some ways, that we don't even recognize anymore. And so what we talked about tonight were plans that we should do in our first 30 days, in our first 100 days. What I would like to think is that we could look back in 2040, and we would look back at the election of 2026 and say, that was when things changed in Wisconsin. That's when we closed the book on all the harm that had been done, starting by Scott Walker in 2010. It's when we started to reinvest in public education, when we started to invest in housing and healthcare and bring down costs and create the Wisconsin that we want. That's my vision for what we're doing here. I have experience over the last 20 years as an executive. I served as the top appointed official in the Evers cabinet. I'm ready to do the job on day one. I'll take support from anybody who's willing to do that alongside me. Thrilled to be with you tonight, and thanks.
Missy, then Sarah.
Well, I want to also thank Citizens Action Network, and I especially want to thank all the folks that have tuned in tonight, because I think you recognize, as we all do, joining you here tonight, that we have an incredible, incredible responsibility. We are at the precipice of chaos, and everything that is coming out of Washington, D.C. is endangering so much in our lives and in our communities' lives. taking that responsibility is so important, and thinking about how do we beat Tom Tiffany in November, remembering that just 17 months ago, Donald Trump won our state and won the election in our state. We cannot let our guard down. We have to do everything that we can to make sure that we are solely focused on winning in November. And the challenge with that is that we need someone who can bring in independent voters. We need someone who can bring in rural, urban, suburban. I have worked in every corner of the state, in every county of the state, and I will continue to do that as governor, creating a full coalition that will bring November, both for the governor's seat and for the Assembly and the Senate. And we will make sure that we are doing the things that we need to do to carry forward all the issues that we've talked about tonight. All of the work that we need to do needs to be sustaining and needs to be led by someone who has already had impact throughout the state.
And Sarah.
So thank you so much, Citizen Action, for having me, and thank you to everybody who's listening online. We need to win this November. We cannot take a risk that we are going to lose the governor's seat. I am the only candidate that has actually flipped a district within the state of Wisconsin. I live in Waukesha County. I was able to win in the state assembly with a 4-term Republican incumbent. I have a proven track record of winning difficult races against Republicans. I can pull in those independent voters. I can pull in the voters that we are going to need statewide. And you're going to need somebody who is ready day one to get their agenda across the finish line. Because when we have that trifecta, we've only got 2 years, folks. 2 years to make a demonstrable difference in people's lives. 2 years to show people what it looks like when Democrats govern. Because if we don't, they're going to flip that assembly right back to Republicans. So why does it matter? I have spent my career in service. I have managed large budgets before, managed large teams. And being lieutenant governor qualifies me to manage something as large as the state government. But I've also maintained my relationships within the Senate and the Assembly. I have the most endorsements of sitting legislators today, and that is built on trust. I also have endorsements in all 72 counties, because this is how you are going to win this November. Doing a 72 county strategy, showing up regardless of how small, regardless of how red. So I ask for your vote this August, and I would love to have Citizen Action support.
All right, let me remove all of your wonderful spotlights and give you a moment to breathe again and spotlight myself and Robert, who I immediately lost when I spotlight myself. There we go. All right. So I want to take another moment to just say thank you to our candidates, not only for attending and engaging in this process, but just stepping up to run. That's a big thing. And of course, I need to thank all the Citizen Action staff for their outreach to the members and holding down the watch parties that are happening, even with the storms that are going on right now, and just getting people excited. You'll be hearing from them in the next coming days. But I also would be remiss if I did not take a big moment to say thank you to the campaign managers and schedulers that I've gotten a wonderful chance to know over the last few months as well. Want to shout out Lucas, Sarah, Dorna, Darby, Becky, Jasper, and Cara, and all the other staffers that I've interacted with. Your work does not go unnoticed or unappreciated by Citizen Action, but especially by me. And thank you to all of our viewers. There were 600 of you. We're so happy that you were here. Don't forget to take the straw poll and send us your thoughts. And with that, I'll pass it over to Robert to close out the evening.
So let me again thank the candidates both for running in the first place at this critical turning point in future of American democracy, but also for coming and participating here and participating at such a substantive level. And let me just say to all the folks who are watching, and these are people who are watching on Zoom live, but also and our 5 watch parties, but also Facebook Live, either now or later. If you're working third shift at the hospital, you're watching it later in the Citizen Action Wisconsin feed. So I think it's a lot more, Priscilla, than 600 people ultimately. But let me just say, these candidates have done the important thing for democracy, that is they've gotten off the sidelines. Democracy is a participatory sport. It is not a spectator sport. But part of the reason democracy is at risk is because not enough people are involved. So I want to thank all the Citizen Action members who are part of the organization already, those who are active in one of our chapters, our organizing co-ops, and in 5 regions across the state, 6 organizing co-ops, and then those who are on action teams. Some of you have met with these candidates who are leading our healthcare work, our climate work, and our movement politics work. And I just want to say to all of you, if we're going to elect one of these candidates, we're going to blunt the authoritarian thrust of the Trump regime, because we never know what's going to happen during this election, including on election day. But then in addition, that we're going to actually build the power to pass an agenda that makes people have a stake in democracy and deals with our problems. That's going to require everyone participating, because even if one of these excellent folks are governor, the lobby court, the Capitol isn't going away, the big special interests, and they have tremendous power to force on the system. So, but first of all, let's win this election. So please volunteer in our co-ops, get involved in our deep canvas, and then let's build all the power to actually govern and help one of these candidates lead the next great chapter in the history of Wisconsin as one of the great leading progressive states. And I'll just end on this, folks. We're a battleground state. What we do in 2027, when one of these candidates does when they're governor, is going to affect the presidential campaign, how people run, and whether we can rebuild democracy in 2028 and 2029 and beyond. So thank all of you for participating. And again, really thank you to the candidates, both for running and participating and running in a substantive way that really addresses the problems our state's facing. So thank you, everyone. Have a good night. Be safe if there are severe thunderstorms.